Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'm here because I want to be here and can. I'm here even though you might not want me to be here, but I feel that I need to be here as well. And so, to back that up, is I have learned in my living a whole bunch of things that I used to not know, and many of us today think we know and don't know. But we got some major problems in the lives that we live here on this planet every day. Have you ever heard of something that's called poverty? Have you ever heard of something called crime and violence? Have you ever heard of something called racism or hatred or bigotry? Have you ever heard of something called terror, murder, and war? Have you ever heard of haves and have nots? Well, I'm sure you have, but maybe some of you haven't. What these represent are expressions of evil. When I say evil, it causes pain and suffering. And it is the kind of things that works against life. It's destructive, it's death. Have you ever heard of something called like peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and happiness and living your dreams? Never suffering from a lack of food or clothing or shelter or education or health care or transportation or infrastructure or in fact anything that's created at the hands of man as you need, want, or desire to access it, it is there available to you because it is the result of using resources that have been given to us and giving we as people a chance to express who we are and in the process create these goods and services in such an abundance that no one have to suffer lack of anything. Now we call that righteousness. We call that truth. We call that love. And so now these two statements that I just made represent choices. Represent choices, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the choice that would bring you this last thing I just said that represent truth and love, it it says that we are not our own God, so to speak. And even if we do claim to be our own God, we recognize that there is another who have proven to do things that we cannot do, like hang the earth in the atmosphere wherever we are, or to do the things. I don't have time to name them now, but you know we can't do them. So we put the higher superiority there. And the fact that we can do certain things tell us we do have some abilities. But we learned that if we work these things together that we do, we can produce this love. We have no reason not to. Why? Because we are satisfied. But this other thing, this I call the second choice, the evil choice, the choice that causes pain and suffering, that comes when you accept the fact that there is no God. Or you might say that there is a God, but that God allows you to subjugate yourself to the rules and dictates of a God down here that says that there is no God, which is representative of the way most people in every society across the world today operates. But we have been blessed to get some lessons throughout our lives. For instance, I just mention a few. There was a man by the name of John F. Kennedy. He was a well-liked man. They called him the President of the United States. He might have been the 35th, but I'm not sure. It's been a while ago. But he was liked around the world. He was handsome. He was white. He was believed to have been rich. But he carried himself in such a way publicly. I don't know what he did behind the curtains. But publicly, he carried himself that people just liked him. They just liked him. He was their president. And he was honest enough to tell some things that others wouldn't tell. For instance, he told us that be careful. In so many words, the world is not out there to stroke your back. It's out there to do evil to you. So you be careful because it will wear you out. I mean, he used all kind of other words. You know the speech. But that's what he was telling not just us as Americans. He was speaking to the world. So he was warning us of something that he had learned. Thank God. And then there was another man by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King. We in American experience. This man shared with us. Let me back up. Now let me stay there. This man. No, let me back up. Let me go from King to Malcolm X. President Kennedy was telling us about the world power as he saw it. Malcolm X broke it down a little bit closer. He told us about that really God kind of love. But not only that, he told us exactly to be careful everywhere. We look at the white man. The white man, as a black man, white man got his problems. We know what they are. We might not know how to fix them, but we know what they are. But at the same time, those who look just like us, given the things that are real, they are just as corrupt, he says, as whites. So why should anybody let another body have control over anybody? So if you're going to have some control, let it be of your own body. But then somebody else came along named Martin, who says character, who you are, is how you should be judged. In other words, God, the Creator, is looking down on us today. Who are we? Are we those who just look at people and say, you deserve everything I deserve, and you mean that much to me? I'm going to treat you, stand up for you, and represent you like I stand up and represent myself. Or are you like the ones that's saying, he or she, not like us, they got to be evil? And when they say that, they're talking about anything that's different from them. It might be color, it might be religious faith, it might be sexuality, it might be anything. But it's not so that they just want to badmouth them. They're ready to destroy them, to cause pain and suffering to them, because they think they are so right. And, ladies and gentlemen, love says, hey, that's real. That's the way it is. These people have not learned what others have. And it might take forever for them to learn, because as we who have learned pass on by not experiencing and expressing what we've learned, it becomes something that we forget. It's like taking books off the shelves that would tell us what happened yesterday. It's like saying it's against the law to talk about the hard times that we've gone through, especially when we're at the same moment trying to go through those things again. And we don't want you to know that it's not new. So what I'm saying to people, I'm saying that as far as my living goes, I cannot accept the fact that you can legally, I've done it, but I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. That some people can go home and do some gerrymandering and guide political persuasion the way they want. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, I've told you forever, and I'm telling you again, every government on the face of the earth is anti-God. Every government on the face of the earth is against you. Even MAGA is against MAGAs. They don't know it. The people that support Putin, Putin is against them. They don't know it. The people that support Donald Trump, he's against them. Why? Because that's what he represents. But he's using. Putin using. Evil using. And you say, go through the pain and suffering. But I want you to know that you got an opportunity to change. You can change, but we have learned to be afraid of change. Learning is, let me give you one more example. I'm going to try to close this out. People who have animals, let's say a dog, a cat, people who love their animals, you can tell it. If you can tell it. Wherever you see them at, you can say, look at that. Look how they love that animal. They got the animal sitting on their shoulders, riding in their car, and if they're at the store, and in the store, their animal, if it's big enough, sitting in the car seat, might have some shades on. I mean, when they go out, they carrying them in little buckets, whatever, feeding them, treating you. And some people say, I can't believe you got that much love for your animal. And then there are people who wasn't raised like that. Their dogs and cats were outside. They came around when it's time to feed them. Or sometimes just being around, you see them. But you meet up sometime. But as far as some love, your love was time to eat, get you some water, rest, see you. That was it. Dog died. Oh, my dog dead. Go bury him or burn him up. No big stuff. But then you, not with your dog, go someplace and see somebody else who got a dog, who loves their dog. And you sit there and look at them and you say, I can't believe that. How can they do that? But at the same time, while you're saying that, you feel a little jealous. You feel a little depleted. You feel like you're a little low because you don't do your dog that way, and you know good and well. In most instances, if you brought your dog in an environment where your dog saw these other dogs being treated like that, they probably want to go home with other dogs and not you. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is the hell that we're living in is the hell we created. And it's not going to go any place until we change it. Now I want to tell you, you can read any books you want. There's messages in everything. There's messages in open your eyes and close them. Truth and lies. So all you got to do, though, is make up your mind that you want to change. And what do you want out of life? Do you want to be a part of choice one, where you can call it heaven, because it seems to represent everything you thought heaven to be, and you are a part of it. Or you could be the other, the pain and suffering, of which we all are. My focus is changing this stuff. Now, the guys that I just mentioned to you, Kennedy, Martin, Malcolm, they were all murdered. These guys were genuine as far as I can tell. They were murdered. And what were they listening to? They were listening to truth. Oh, they heard all kind of stuff. They read and all this kind. But they brought out of that a construction of who they were. And they presented themselves. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you, the knowledge that this would kill them didn't frighten them enough. They must have knew something else, because it didn't slow them down. It didn't stop them at all. Oh, there were many who were out there with them. It stopped them. I mean, they took a seat and played a part of another game, but these didn't. So what I want you to know is, when you say that you're having a relationship with God, you're not having a relationship with a book, because the relationship with a book will tie you down. You're not having a relationship with somebody else out there trying to guide you with their miles. No, my friend, because it will tie you down. It'll have you giving them money so they can buy jets and create an environment that'll produce other people who are negligent in life, just like what they've done to us. No, my friends, there's only one way, and that's to listen to God. And any God that cannot speak to you is because you're rejecting God. And you're not going to get God in a book. Oh, you can all have all kind of stories, just like you hear about Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red, whoever those other stories are you hear, Cinderella. Yeah, when you do that, that's all they presented God to us to be. God is not looking out. See, God has given us the responsibility to look out for ourselves. And we've forgotten God so much that every now and then God does something. What is it? And when it's done, it's a miracle. A miracle. It's like putting a stamp on a miracle. God has just solidified themselves, not just in spirit, but now you. And you are supposed to, if you're righteous, become a representation of that which you now know, which means you're standing up against the world now. You're not trying to take or fight for the things that the world is fighting of. You're not trying to say Republican and Democrat. You're not trying to say liberal and conservative. or black. No, what you're saying is right and wrong. And you, the people, get together. No Republicans over here and Democrats over here and you fighting against each other. No, you come in the same room, dealing with the same issues. Make a decision. You, the people, make a decision. No one person or a party telling another person what you got to do because we have decided now we're making a law. If you don't do it, you got to go through these kinds of changes. No, my friend, we owe each other more respect than that. And you, if you don't get it, you should demand that you get more respect than that. In other words, when somebody says, well, it should not be a law talking about civil rights. It got to be on a book. Oh, civil rights is in here. And ain't no book. Go take civil rights out of there. But if you got civil rights in here, how do you know it? You stand up for what is right. Get scared, they'll put me in jail. Nigga, the jail was made for you if they want to abuse you. Because you ain't taking it. You'd rather sit up in jail all forever than to be walking around out there smiling, being abused with a stick up your butt, acting like you all right. No, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen. You see, the sun is setting. And if the world continues like it is, if I don't get an accident, I'm going to get older, I guess. And if I get older, something's going to happen to me. I'm going to get sick. And it's going to be from a condition that's going to require some heavy medication or healthcare treatment. The system isn't necessarily designed to take care of that. No, it's about get your money. But see, I want to make sure that that's already taken care of for you. And not only that, because I don't know how long that'll take, because it's going to require your input. But one other thing. Let me have the love for the megas, those who say I'm a nigger. Let me be able to walk above that. Let me be able to look at them and say, I'm going to make sure you got health care. Those might be out there and say, I'm broke. I'm living in the ghetto. But let me walk the streets. I'm going to make sure you never have to live in the ghetto. I want to make sure that you don't have to go through the struggles and hell that we went through. And if I have to be murdered because I stand for that baby, there's no way for me. I've been missed it. I've been got out of this hell. And that's what I want. I want to change this world. No, that don't make sense. I can't change this world. But I want to play a part in it with you that we have agreed upon to the extent we can all smile. And if we don't get to that point, let us be making the steps on that path. And if the devil comes around and say, you're too good, we don't like what you're talking about, well, that's what it means, too good. That means when you're having some effect, we're going to take you out. Don't run. Don't run. Thank God Almighty that your day has come. And get the hell out of here. I thought I just want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, God is a good God. And the hell that binds us is just that, hell. Until next time, Eddie Marcus saying, thanks for now.